G'day everybody, Sean from Bourbon Brothers here. I hope you're well. Welcome to our second tasting video for our wheated month. Today we're looking at the Larceny wheated bourbon. So Larceny is a straight bourbon from Heaven Hill. Again, it's an ongoing release, comes in at 92 proof or 46 ABV, no age statement on it, undisclosed mash bill once again. But obviously be corn, wheat and malted barley. So let's learn a little bit about the brand. Heaven Hill acquired Old Fitzgerald brand in 1999. At the time, the brand had been released in low cost, 100 proof, bottled in bond and 80 proof forms with dated packaging. In September 2012, Heaven Hill introduced Larceny to the market as their heir to the wheated bourbons that make up the historic Old Fitzgerald franchise. While the exact mash bill is not disclosed, Heaven Hill notes that Larceny contains 1/3 more wheat than its competitors. Notably, the name Larceny and the key pictured on the bottle is derived from the story of John Fitzgerald, who was believed to be a treasury agent who used his keys to the warehouse to pilfer bourbon from the finest barrels, which were referred to as Fitzgerald barrels. While the numbers are growing, bourbons with wheat as a secondary grain are still in the minority. The most popular and large productions, relatively speaking, are Maker's Mark and W.L. Weller, which we're featuring this month as well. There are, and have been, limited release bourbons that utilise wheat as a secondary grain as well, with the old Rip Van Winkle lineup, which includes Pappy Van Winkle bourbons, being the most popular, and bloody hard to get. I'm leaving off a few for sure, but the most prevalent growth in the wheated bourbon category is from craft distilleries, of which have only seen limited distribution. It's been argued that few can actually decipher whether a bourbon contains wheat as a secondary grain as opposed to the much more widely utilised rye when tasted blind. In fact, it's not uncommon to pull out the lighter, sweeter notes from those rye-based bourbons, since corn, the main ingredient in every bourbon's mash bill by law, offers up a good deal of sweet notes on its own. If we narrow down, focusing purely on the mash bill, Larceny's most direct wheated competitor is Maker's Mark. Both Makers and Larceny come in at around the same proof, although Larceny is notably 2 proof points higher. By comparison, Larceny offers a more balanced experience than Makers in my opinion, trading a little bit of character for more widespread appeal. So while you'll find more polarising opinions about Maker's Mark, I think you'd be hard pressed to find many who actually dislike Larceny, which, all things considered, must have been what Heaven Hill was aiming for. Let's give it a shot. Sort of that light copper, medium copper on it. Yeah, not bad at all. The Larceny is really soft. You get that array of summer fruits, orange and apricot and peach, combined with that sweet sugarcane note that wheat gives you. Light cinnamon also comes into play. The scents are inviting, but it's not overly rich in its delivery. Cheers. A delicate cinnamon spice pops at first, with baking spices and nutmeg coming in behind it. That honey sweetness comes through though, and it contrasts those spice notes. The mouthfeel, it's on the thinner side, but not so much that it detracts from your tasting experience. Despite the presence of some spice notes, the sip's pretty tame, approachable and enjoyable overall. Cinnamon and honey carry over into the finish and are joined by a sweet maple sugar note. Warming and medium in length, it caps off the sip nicely, maintaining the overall balance presented by this bourbon. So that's our Larceny small batch wheated bourbon, brought in directly from the US for our great subscribers. I hope you're enjoying it and you're enjoying your journey. Cheers. If we narrow down, focusing solely on the mash bill, Larceny's most direct wheated competitor is Maker's Mark. Both Makers and Larceny come in around the same proof. The finish, We get cinnamon and honey carrying over well into that finish and are joined by a sweet maple sugar